Welcome to the very first episode of Reheated Rivalry, which is a watch along podcast where we look at the show that everyone loves from a queer, social, psychological, cinematic, pop culture perspectives. I'm Em.
I'm Mariana.
We're going to share a little bit about who we are and then jump right into the first episode. So we'll try not to do too many spoilers, but we can't totally guarantee that. But we're going to do our best. So if you're watching it along for the first time and listening, you're probably going to be okay. I'll just start to introduce myself. I'm Em Marinelli, and just to own my kind of social locations and how I show up in this podcast as a white, queer, genderqueer identified, but cis presenting person, human, with a lot of tattoos. I also have a tattoo podcast where I interview people about their Twin Peaks tattoos and a podcast about Wayward. I guess I just love pop culture so much. I'm a professor and a writer, able-bodied. I come from a working class background in Oklahoma, and I'm a psychotherapist. So I bring a psychological lens to the conversation.
My name is Mariana Lopez. I am a queer woman of color. I live in San Francisco, California. I have a film background, and I've worked at several film festivals. I currently work in the environmental social justice industry, or what you call it. And yeah, I'm born and raised in California. I'm able-bodied.
That's
There was
perfect.
something else. There was something else that I was going to add from what you said, but now I forget.
And I think that we should also say that we've been friends for like almost 20 years or something. Bananas.
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Bonded over. Oh, I know what I was going to
Oh,
say.
good.
I have zero tattoos in reference to your tattoos, which is very rare these days, especially for the queer community. I feel like tattoos are just such like a, I don't know, just so.
Like a rite of passage or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. It's so like tied to one's identity too. And I'm just like, what does it mean where I have just like nothing on my body? It
It
just
means that
means
you're unique and wonderful individual human. And but who knows, by the end of this podcast, you might have
I might have some heated
5 to 10
rivalry tattoos.
heated rivalry tattoos. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we've known each other for like 20 years and we met through friends and we were just like, we like zoned in on each other. We were like, Zoop, who are you? Let's be friends because right away we spoke the same pop culture language and have bonded over like the strangest, weirdest things that why would anyone want why would anyone have watched Delirious with John Candy? We did. We love it. We can quote it.
We often talk in quotes to each other, sometimes just only in quotes. Those are our conversations, and we know exactly what the other one's talking about.
And that's a language that I think is so powerful and healing because, at least for me, pop culture has always been something that's been comfort and soothing and, like a family, like something I can go back to. And it's always there for me and it's reliable and consistent. And kind of growing up in a environment that was not that was chaotic, it was just so nice to have even really stupid things that I could watch over and over again. Three Amigos, what have you.
Oh my God, Three Amigos, Funny Farm, Bejeweled,
Funny
Great
farm.
Outdoors. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who even watches these movies but us?
Exactly.
Mannequin 2 on the move.
Mannequin 2 on the move, which is better of the two mannequins. We can talk about that, but Grease 2 better than Grease. We can have a conversation about that, but these things are sort of like the score of my childhood and into my adulthood, and I'm very happy. And when this show, Heated Rivalry, happened, everything started cracking open. I mean, I'm curious, like, Mars, how did you discover Heated Rivalry? Like, how did it come to you? And what was it like watching it for the first time?
I was on Instagram and I was just seeing things pop up about the show. I saw one of my coworker liking a lot of like memes that were popping up, and I was like, what is this show about? Like, it looks a little bit cheesy. I don't really know. And then I don't know, I wasn't doing anything one night and I was like, I think I'll just like see what this is about. And I think maybe four, no, 3 episodes had been out already at that time. And I might have just like binged all 3 because I was hooked from the beginning. And of course, once I start, it's like and there's multiple episodes available. I'm just going to keep going. But it was not cheesy. It surpassed my expectations. It was, you know, it's these unknown actors on this small show from Canada, and it's just like gorgeously produced, and it's just has this rich cinematic quality to it, and I was just like captivated like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't say it any better. Like, absolutely. It's so captivating, surprisingly, for being such a small, cute little show. A friend of mine told me about it, and I was like, hockey? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't want to do hockey. And she was like, no, 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 it's not. It's not. I promise. And I was like, okay. And then I just didn't. And then, some people that I was talking to, more and more people started talking about it. And then finally, one night I was just by myself and I was like, fine. And I watched the first episode. And to be honest with you, I was kind of, I don't know, I wasn't blown away by the first episode. I was a little bit like, this is like a gay Red Shoe Diaries vibe. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't blown away. I was blown away by the sexiness of it, but like, I wasn't sure. And then I watched the next one and I was hooked like there was no tomorrow. And I saved the very last episode for the next morning because I was just like, it's that thing, right? When it's done, then it's over. What do you do? Oh my gosh. So it reminded me of like watching Heartstopper for the first time. And I know that Mars, you don't have the Heartstopper language, but it has a similar kind of cultural effect for me of when that happened, things started cracking open, conversations started happening culturally that hadn't before. And I mean, everyone is watching fucking Heated Rivalry. Like they're presented at the Golden Globes. They carry the thing at the Olympics. What is that? What happened? What do they do?
The torch, they were torch bearers.
Yeah, they're torch bearers at the Olympics. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's yeah. So maybe we could start there a little bit about like what do you think the cultural impact so far has been and what is it like for you?
Well, I think we can all agree that the world is a bit of a dumpster fire right now. And I think this show is just providing a ton of joy for folks who are desperately
Yeah.
needing it. And it's also giving a lot of hope, not to provide spoilers for what's to come. But I think it's just like, it's such a great, like, world to escape into. And I mean, yes, it's hot as hell. It's very sexy. Even just the way that the coordination of those like sex scenes, the choreography of all that, I was just very impressed. Um, yeah, and just this world that Jacob Tierney created. It was based off of this Game Changers. There's a Game Change series books by author Rachel Reed. I didn't even know it was based on books, and I'm now reading all of the books because
That's
I
awesome.
just can't get enough. I've already reheated this show, gosh, 3 times through, and the first episode, I think I'm like on the fifth viewing. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. It's just like one of my coworkers, when all the episodes came out, she just kept going back to episode 6 and calling it her daily multivitamin. It was just like she just needed to keep watching it, and it just like, you know, had to, take her vitamin that made her feel better that day. So,
I love that. It is like a multivitamin. I love that description so much. It's such medicine right now in this very, very, very difficult, scary time. I think we need joy, and joy is resistance, and queer joy is resistance. And, sometimes like I can get into this thing of like, oh, I'm watching this show and I'm not like on the streets doing something. I mean, I am on the streets doing things, but it's like, it feels kind of strange. And then I remember like, oh, making art, consuming art, that is queer joy, that is queer resistance. Like that's what we need to be doing. Like love and laughter and, watching hot gay sex, like this is what we need to be doing. And that is, in response to what the systems and the administration don't want us to be doing. They don't want us to be doing that. And that's where like Heated Rivalry and even a show like Wayward, like my other podcast, I mean, not to like, I'm not trying to plug, but just to say like the trans mask representation in that show and the normalization of that and all these things that are happening at the same time that all of this bullshit's going on is very powerful. And so there's like this really important pop culture moment that we're in right now. And Heated Rivalry is like at the lava core of it all, heating us up.
Heating us up. Yes. And I mean, it's just had such an impact on just so many different communities. I know it's very big amongst the queer AFAB community as well. And they have like, there's always been like a connection, I feel like, or a
Yeah.
resonance, um, gay to, man love or boy, what do they call it? Man love, I guess, is what it is. There's like a whole genre of that. I think it maybe originated in manga, but do not quote me. But yeah, it's just what it is. It's just like it feels like such a safe world too, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
There's like no, you're not watching it like for like, you're not like feeling like you need to compare yourself, or it just feels like it's devoid of maybe the misogyny that we're used to seeing in mainstream media. And it's also just like seeing the vulnerability between two men. I mean, it's just, I mean, how much more lesbianic can you get with all the yearning? I mean, I'm watching this show and I'm just like, these two lesbians, like, in this like relationship that's spanning
Totally.
like a decade,
Oh
you
my
know?
goodness. Well, we have to talk about the timeline because I have like timeline challenges with the show, which is important. But you're so right. It is. It's so sensual, and it is so. There's so much like female queerness, AFAB queerness in there, and I also think that a lot of like queer women dykes like to watch gay male porn, and so it's like already in that. It's already in the mix, and then here's this show that's like the beginnings of a love story. And then if you haven't seen it all, you can kind of maybe imagine that it is a love story as much as it's a sex story. To have all of that in the same show with two gorgeous humans who are there and in this hyper masculine space of hockey. And that's the other part too. And Mars, you know a lot, you know more about like there's like you said like somebody had there's like people who have been coming out who are like athletes, and also you're an athlete, which you should say. I don't think you said that before. Like you've been playing sports your whole life. This is your world. I'm like hockey. I don't even know what that is. And you're like, of course, it's hockey. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I grew up playing soccer and I currently play on a softball team, a queer specifically queer softball team. And yeah, it's always been more normalized, I feel like, amongst AFAB sports where most of the athletes are out and open, or, maybe it's just more accepted in those communities. And a lot of times the players are dating each other, or they could be playing against each other, or they're like, they're married. But yeah, you definitely don't see that in male dominated sports. And yeah, the one of the actors who plays Shane Hollander, Hudson Williams, he was mentioning that, yeah, pro athletes were DMing him in his Instagram and letting him know just like how impactful this show has been, and basically coming out to him. And it's just like, it's doing something. There's like cultural shift happening, now whether they feel safe or not to come out from the show, I don't actually know if that will happen, but people are desperately craving this type of this art.
Yeah, I think that representation is so important. And that's one of the many reasons why this show matters and why it's medicine, particularly right now. It's so funny what you were saying about like in like women's sports, they're like like out and married. It's like so it's like
Yeah, it's
they're
very
just
common.
and like you live with your ex, three exes, and then you play
Absolutely.
softball with them or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Good job, everybody. Let's dig into episode one, rookies. Mars, what is a rookie? No, I'm legitimately serious. What is that?
It's like basically like well, I was going to say an amateur athlete, but I don't even know if I'm getting this correct. But like, it's basically someone who's not a professional athlete yet.
Mm,
They're in their rookie season.
gotcha.
They are playing in some, like, I think, junior league tournaments. They are preparing to go to tryouts to get drafted to a professional team. So that's sort of like the trajectory of like what a rookie is, not yet a professional athlete.
So we're really seeing Shane and Ilya in their baby hockey years.
Yeah,
Like,
I think they're supposed to be like 17
oh, good
or
Lord.
18 in the
Oh,
beginning.
like actual babies. I didn't even realize. Like they're very, very young trying to make it into the like big time hockey.
Yeah.
And so they're okay. So we're really seeing them. They're both probably really nervous trying to get placed. This is a lot of what this episode is, right? And we see the family dynamics like right away, like from both of them. Like we see like Shane's mom just like managing every single thing he's doing down to like what shoes he's wearing, and then we see
Yeah.
Ilya's dad just being a total asshole, and silencing him
Hmm.
essentially. Yeah, and I'm curious, like, yeah, if you have any thoughts about how those family dynamics play into their characters as they're like as we're meeting them in this episode.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it definitely like informs who their character is. Ilya, grew up in more of a reserved household. He probably couldn't speak his mind and he had to stay in his lane and be in his place. And so I think he just kind of comes off as this like brooding kind of guy, just like he doesn't like, yeah, he just doesn't expose himself as much. And I wouldn't say Shane does as well, but you can just tell that there's like a lot of trauma happening in Ilya's life, and he's maybe not so quick to trust, and he like I think he maybe thinks that people have ulterior motives or something. And yeah, I wouldn't just say he's like the most warm, open person when we meet him. And Shane, he's just he comes from a very loving family, very supportive, basically at all of his practices and games and award ceremonies and things like that. They're very present in his life, and his mom is his manager and like trying to get him all of these like sponsorship deals. So they're very involved, and it's allowed Shane to be more comfortable in his skin, but at the same time, not, because we find out, and I heard this because the author and the actor and director like confirmed that Shane is autistic.
Mm.
And so you kind of get the sense that like he's still figuring himself out and everything. I mean, he's young if they're supposed to be like teenagers, basically. And this is really like the world that he knows. I mean, he's apparently like has the highest EQ of whatever, knowing hockey. I don't even know the terms around hockey or whatnot, but like you can see he's locked in. This has been his whole life, and he's just totally dedicated and devoted to this. So, anyways, I think that's like a little bit about their family background. If
Yeah,
you want
I'm
to add
really
more to that.
yeah, no, I love everything that you said, and what it's bringing up for me is that they're both kind of, even though they have these very different backgrounds and family systems, they're both coming in with these masks on, these kind of false selves in order to survive this very stressful rookie season hockey world. And so, yeah, like who are their true selves? I'm thinking about the scene where we see this shot from overhead looking down on Shane's family sort of around a table, and mom is talking, maybe dad is talking a little bit to some guy, maybe remember this, and Shane just looks completely dissociated. Like
Right.
I think that the stress and the pressure of this moment in at the beginning of their career, especially for someone so young. I mean, just thinking about that, and this must be true for a lot of athletes. Again, a world I don't know. I know I'm a dancer, I'm a tap dancer. There's a
Hmm.
lot of stress and pressure around dancers, but I didn't have that. I didn't have that trajectory of becoming a professional dancer. Thought I was going to maybe for a hot second, but I didn't.
Hmm.
So I don't have that. But just thinking about like the psyche of a little one. You're in high
Right.
school. Like
And there's the added pressure of Shane being a person of color. He's
exactly.
half, I think in the show he's supposed to be half Japanese. The actor
Mhm.
is actually half Korean. And so he's also needing to be like a role model
Exactly.
for these kids who look up to him for being a person of color in a mostly white dominated sport.
Absolutely. And then that comment later of people compare you to Tiger Woods and Serena Williams. Like, what do you think about that? And he's just like, he has nothing. He's like, I don't think about any of that. Like that's too much. That's way too
Hmm.
much pressure. And also kind of othering. And
Totally.
there's just so much like, I feel like coded racism in that question. Like he doesn't need to, he's just fucking Shane Hollander trying to play hockey and have really hot sex with Ilya. That's it. Okay. That's all he needs to be doing.
Period. The end.
Period. The
Show me
end.
more of that.
But it takes me to that scene where the pressure for both of them is building, and then Shane can't sleep. Elias just had this horrible conversation with his brother on the phone, and we're like, okay, brother's douchebag, dad's asshole, got it. Horrible family system that Elias dealing with, and then Shane goes to do the bike. Tell me your thoughts on the bike scene.
Yeah, I mean, he can't sleep. I don't know if it's the night before the draft or, oh no, I think the draft already happened. And Shane got a second pick in the draft, and Ilya was number one. And I think obviously Shane, being so hard on himself and very competitive, wants to be number one and do the best that he can. And he knows that there's this person out there that's better than him, and I think it gets to him. And so he just like goes to I think they're in the hotel gym, and he just like gets on the bike, I think to just like blow off some steam. And then Ilya joins him. He joins him. He's next to him on the bike. And then, of course, like they can't help but be competitive with each other, even just like riding the bike next to each other.
Oh my gosh, it builds and builds. And this is where the rivalry and the sex go hand in hand. This is like one of the first times we really see their sex rivalry. It's the same coin, different sides, side by side. I mean, I think this is actually the first time that they have sex, like an energetic sexual exchange, because they're sweating, they're both aware of each other's bodies,
Absolutely.
they're fucking without touching. And it's really it's really amazing to watch. And also, I think so important that they need to just, like when you're fucking and you have an orgasm and you release and your body can kind of like relax and all it like that's what they need. They need that sort of like build, and then like release so that they can relax because of this level of intense pressure that they've been going through. That's not just like a one time. I mean, it's the whole, they're doing like a whole thing that they, right? The rookie thing. Listen, I don't
Yeah, it's
know what I'm
okay.
saying. A
No, well,
rookie
yeah,
thing.
the rookie thing, rookie of the year.
A rookie.
The
Oh
90s
gosh.
movie, you remember that movie. Um, no, well, actually, yeah, this is like this world that they live in. It's just like it's so much pressure. It's put on them, and I think that like they're the only two people I feel like that can understand what the other is going through, you know? And
Oh
also,
yeah, totally.
I just want to say, like, I thought this scene was brilliant because, like, even just from the production design aspect, just even like the outfit that they chose to put Shane in and the one they put Ilya in. Like Shane is wearing a white shirt, white typically represents like purity, wholesomeness,
Yeah.
and Ilya's in black, kind of like brooding, like darker energy, whatever. And then when they like pull out and they're like sitting across from each other with the whole like water bottle scene, passing it back and forth, brushing each other's fingers, so hot. I noticed that Ilya is wearing white shoes and Shane is wearing black. So in a way, it sort of becomes this like yin yang
I
like
love this.
comparison where it's just like, they both have qualities of each other in themselves, if that makes sense. And like you're just sort of even it's like establishing the compatibility between these two that we're going to be seeing unfold throughout the first season.
Oh my God, totally. I love that so much. I love that call out with the colors. Mars, well done. It is. It's like the mixture of their energies have begun. And I think the other thing that starts, so I think it's the first time they have sex, their energies start to mix. And then the other thing that happens is that we establish Ilya, as if we didn't know, as the top, right? Because he's like telling him to drink more water. What did he say?
Oh, he's just like more. And then he like winks at him,
He
basically.
winks at him. I mean,
And Shane clocks that. He goes like, he like makes like a sound or whatever.
mm-hmm.
He knows
There's,
what he's doing.
he knows what he's doing. Ilya is in charge of this whole situation. And, I'm not saying that Shane doesn't have power, but this establishes like the dynamic that we will continue to see unfold. And that happens in this episode.
Absolutely.
Is this a scene that then leads them into the shower?
Yeah,
No,
well,
that's later.
they go then to doing well, whatever, 6 months later, 4 months later, 2 months
Oh
later.
my
I
God.
can't
See,
even
what's
keep up.
happening? What
I
year
need
is
them to
this?
flash the year. I don't know. I think we started in 2008. Then it's 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. I'm like, just tell me the year. I
Just
don't
what
even
year is
know.
it? I don't know.
Who even knows? But now they're like filming a commercial together. They're both like the heads of like the Major League Hockey organization, and they've been both cast to do this commercial against each other, or whatever. They're like the rival positioning, and then there's sort of like goofiness kind of comes out around each other, and they're like playfulness, like they're like their walls kind of start to come down a little bit
Hmm.
because they both like kind of can't keep a straight face while they're filming this commercial, which is really sweet. And then we move into the shower scene because of course you have to take a shower after you're filming a commercial.
Of course you do. Oh, absolutely. Well, and we learned that Ilya is the one who orchestrated Shane being there, another top move.
Right.
He's
So toppy.
orchestrating this. And, did he have to shower exactly when Shane was showering? And you know what I mean? This is all
Yeah.
very clear what's
Yeah.
happening here.
It's on. It's on. Once
It's
they're in
on.
the shower, we know it's on. And obviously, Shane is freaking out. And of course, even just from that scene, I'm like, oh my God, someone's going to walk in on them. Like, I'm just
Yes.
waiting for them to get caught, like at all moments.
I'm so glad that you said that because that is just a theme throughout is like the fear of what something bad is going to happen. They're going to get caught, they're going to get kicked out, whatever the fill in the blank bad thing. A hate crime is going to happen. I mean, I think I can't I'll speak for myself. I feel like I'm conditioned in a lot of queer TV and queer cinema to expect that the really horrible thing will happen. And that's not to say that in real life, really horrible things don't happen to queer people. Of course, they do all the time, particularly right now with trans folks and particularly trans folks of color. So I'm not saying that, but when a show is not giving us that, when a show is just giving us sexiness and beauty, it's like it's almost like I don't know what to do. My nervous system's like, wait, what? Everything's okay? Like, what? Okay. Or like, maybe we're okay for now, but like, what's going to happen next? And in this show, it's reflected in Shane, where he's just like not here because he's like, I think, surprised at himself getting really turned on,
Hmm.
like at that level of like, he's not even touching himself. And like, he's getting hard just looking at Ilya. And
Hmm.
I don't know. We don't know Shane's story with his sexuality like backstory. I would love to know that in a spinoff. I want everything. I want to know everything.
You
Um,
want a prequel? You want a
I want a
sequel?
prequel. I want two different. I want five prequels. I want as much heated rivalry as I could possibly get. But I think what we're also getting some of Shane's fear of being caught, of being exposed, of not being that perfect spokesperson for fill in the blank,
Hmm.
Reeboks, Rolex, whatever it is. That doesn't fit being queer. That doesn't match. You can't
Hmm.
have that. You can't have both, but maybe you can. But at this point, you can't. And yeah, I did notice myself the first time watching having that fear, holding that fear of
Hmm.
what bad is going to what thing that is bad is going to happen. And I think it's so important that we have these representations of these worlds, these imaginings where maybe that doesn't have to be the case. It's not
Hmm.
that things are not hard. It's not that things are not have an internal battle about what you do with yourself and your sexuality and what's happening and this and that and the other, but that someone's not murdering you. It's really important
Right.
that we have that. Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, it's just like, yeah, this world in which the author Rachel Reed built, it's like it seems like it's devoid of homophobia and hate crimes, but we don't know that going into it, and certainly not because I was not a reader of the book series beforehand. So, and even around this time frame, what is it, 2008, 2010? Like, they're definitely like whispering to each other, like trying to like find out what their room number is or whatnot, so they're definitely like doing things in secret. And so because there's still that sort of like secrecy to this relationship, you still in the back of your mind are like, yeah, they're going to get caught. Something bad is going to happen. I don't know. I wanted to just talk a little bit more about, I know we had mentioned like, do we feel like anybody on the team is sort of like onto them?
Yeah, sure. Well, they have this really and we let's check in about their first time as well in
Oh,
the
right.
hotel
Yes.
room.
Because that
Oh,
probably happened before. Yes.
but your question about does anyone know? I mean, I'm holding a question about does Scott Hunter have an idea? Is he kind of like is something happening here? Not to give away about Scott Hunter's story for those folks who have not seen it, but there's something going on there, almost like a wink or a I know something. I'm watching out for you guys. Like Scott Hunter is paying attention, let's say. And Ilya just says like he's hot. I mean, Ilya's
Yeah.
not shy about that. But yeah, I'm curious, what do you I
Yeah.
don't have a sense that anyone else on the team is looking at them at this point and
Yeah.
thinking anything. I think they're really, really hiding what's going on.
So yeah, Scott Hunter, he's another player. He plays for the New York Admirals. That's a professional hockey team name that he's
That's
on.
amazing
And
that
then
you know that. Like
Ilya
what if you were
Ilya's
like,
on the
what team is Ilya on? I would be like,
he's on the Boston Raiders.
thank you.
And Shane is on the Montreal Metros. I almost said Expos, but that was an actual baseball team.
That's
Sidebar.
amazing.
Whatever.
Amazing. That's
Montreal
so great. That's so
Metros.
cool that you know that.
Yeah, but yeah, and so we're introduced to this other character who plays a much bigger role later on in the series, named Scott Hunter. We kind of get the sense that he's maybe picking up on some energy between the two, but we're not really to know that at first, and how that like plays into his story. So yeah, I don't think other people are actually clocking them. I think they're hiding their relationship pretty well, but they're being extra careful because, they don't want the repercussions of being caught.
Yeah, and this is where, like again, if I the time issues, I think there is a build that is happening over time between, when they do the photo shoot, when they do, and then I think there's like, and then when they first have sex in the hotel room, and then the second time they meet up, there's like quite a substantial amount of time, I think, between those things. And I don't know, like I really need some Virgo out there. Maybe someone's already done this, some gay ass Virgo to lay out the chronology like in a visual map so that I'm a
Hmm.
visual learner, so I can see when these different events, a timeline or
Right.
a heated rivalry time. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking for. Because I need to understand, but that's part of the hotness, right? You
Yeah, the
know,
the time in between the
please,
waiting, building
please.
up the yearning,
Oh my
the
God.
anticipation. I
The
mean, it just makes
fantasy.
everything so much hotter.
My God,
Then
the
they finally
imagining.
hook up.
Oh my gosh. And it's so great. And before they hook up, I just want to give a shout out to the montage that happens of Shane trying on different outfits. Number one, I love a good montage always. I always want a montage, i.e., European vacation, new looks, etc. It has a thank God,
Classic.
a classic. So I always want a montage shout out. And also Shane is just being so cute because he's nervous. He's
Yes.
so nervous. And the way that they're showing that and not telling that is so wonderful. This
Hmm.
show does such a good job of just showing us so much and not having to explain every fucking thing. I'm
Yes.
so a lot of new shows now will be like, well, it's because my sister did blah blah blah. And it's like I think I can infer that without you having to say it out loud. It's really refreshing.
Well, I mean, shows are doing that because people's attention spans are shot, or they're like
Oh my
on their
God.
phone. They're on their phone, scrolling while they have a show in the background. So purposefully, I think
Mm-hmm.
these Netflix shows that are just being churned out all the time are actually being really poorly written, just so like
Yeah,
people can like understand what's going on while their attention is elsewhere. And this show, Heated Rivalry, really, you cannot be distracted when you're watching this show. You will miss the
that's
nuances and
right.
all the subtleties of everything and the micro expressions of the actors'
That
faces, which is so important and integral to who they are as people.
there is so much. Thank you so much for saying that. There's so much going on. The acting quality of our two stars is like is unfucking believable. What Hudson is doing with his face, he's telling us multitudes of stories in what he's showing us in one facial expression. There is there are worlds going on in
Hmm.
there. And that's why, yes, that we have to pay attention. And I see even more nuances. I've done maybe like two, three rewatches or something. I see even more nuances each time in what they're bringing and what they're giving. So it's so important to their character development to watch and listen and pay attention. And also, why the fuck would you want to be doing anything else when you're watching this hot stuff anyway? I
I
don't know
know.
what you're doing. Put your phone away. Look at these incredible people, these beautiful, beautiful humans who are like just acting right off the screen. They're so good.
And these gorgeous, like, sex scenes that
Mm,
were beautifully like
yeah.
choreographed by this intimacy coordinator. Shout out to the intimacy
Shout
coordinator.
out.
And these like sex scenes, they're not like, normally you're used to like, oh, they're kissing and then they like cut away to something else. It's like, no, they linger. They linger on these scenes. I swear they're like 5 to 7 minutes. It's so rare to see that. And it just be such quality from start to finish. It's just like, there's just something different about this show that I feel like just hasn't been done before.
I completely agree. Shout out. And it's really refreshing to see, even though probably most of us don't look like Hudson and what's his name?
Connor
Connor.
story. Yeah.
Probably most of us don't look like them. A lot of us may have like, especially first time queer sexual encounters
Hmm.
that are like, oh, they kind of start and stop. And, like a lot of times it's cinematically, you'll just see this very long, like or not long, but just sort of like all happening in one time
Right.
period. And then it's like
Yes.
over, the cutaway happens and it's done. This is like they're by the door. They're
Hmm.
talking a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna come. Let's stop and talk. I'm gonna lay on the bed. They're awkward. They don't know exactly what to do. Shane doesn't know what to do. And it's so beautiful they represent that. And then Ilya's the top, obviously. We know this. And he starts touching Shane and he asks if it's okay. And right
Hmm.
away, even though he kind of like pushed him against a wall in a way that it's so sexy, but we get the sense that if Shane really didn't want that, he could leave. Like we're not getting a sense that Ilya is pinning him in a way that it's not consensual. Shane wants this. But when they're on the bed and Shane doesn't know what to do, and Ilya asks that, he's of course being a top. So, like, again, top dynamics. And also, he's building this sense of trust and safety in their sexual encounter, even if that's the only sexual encounter they ever have.
Hmm.
And I think that's so,
Yeah, and you can
we
already
need
start to
that.
see Ilya's like tenderness is
Yes,
coming forward, and you can
that's
tell
right.
like, his walls are coming down, even in that scene,
Yes,
with Shane. And it's just really beautiful to see.
it is. And then Shane kind of gets on top of him and starts sucking him off. Like, that's what he wants to do.
Oh
Like, I
yeah.
get, like, Shane
He's down
wants
bad.
that.
He is down bad. Okay, he's been waiting for this moment his entire life,
He really
and
has.
he just cannot wait.
He cannot wait. Well, I mean, could you? I mean, could any of us
No, oh
wait?
my
Nope.
God, no,
Nope.
neither. I mean,
Let's get
get
in
me in
there.
there, get me in there, put me in the middle. I am in this sandwich of these beautiful hockey players. Oh my God, yes.
Oh my goodness. Agreed. 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 And then there's these kind of like bottom top stuff, like the reference of, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I was on a YouTube hole of the tiger and the bear and the cow and the duck and the snake and the baby. And
But when Shane is talking to his parents
when Shane's
at
talking to his
lunch the
parent,
next day, yeah,
yes, yes. So he's late. And like those are very interesting animal. He's just like saying fun animal. I was watching fun animal videos. No, you weren't. Um,
yeah.
he was not watching that. But that like a tiger and a bear, kind of like a cow and a duck. And I'm really struck by a snake and a baby. I'm just thinking about like Ilya is sort of slithering toward him and like his baby and Shane's baby innocence, like being bitten. And I think about like a snake biting and like I'm thinking of like almost Adam and Eve, snake, apple. Like there's a lot of
The
like
forbiddenness of it all.
the forbiddenness.
Yeah.
Yes. There's
Oh, it's
something
brilliant.
like kind of like archetypally like like even though I have no idea what I'm saying because I've never read the Bible and I'm not remotely religious, but I have these I had those kind of like archetypal images float through. But like you were saying before about the yin and the yang and the sort of the colors representing the innocence and the coming to the shadow side. I feel like this is another subtle version of that. And then Ilya can't get to Montreal because of the snow, but that prolongs once again the next time. And it just builds and builds and builds.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
Sexy.
next time was when they were going to take the intimacy a bit further. Um,
Right.
and yeah, and then he can't get to Montreal because of the snowstorm. And then where do we go from there? I know Ilya goes back home and his best friend from Russia, Svetlana, is there in his house. And you also discover that Ilya sleeps with women as well. So it hasn't been explicitly said yet, but you start to sort of understand that, okay, Ilya is bisexual.
Yeah. Or maybe, like I had a thought of like not knowing Svetlana, we were just meeting her in this episode, but I remember thinking, oh, is Ilya mostly into men, but has this woman because he needs to have this woman for
Right.
all the reasons, right? All of the public facing reasons why and
Hmm.
how into her is he really? And we find more out about that later. But at that time, that was kind of a thought that crossed my mind because I think historically a lot of people have had to do that, right? You have the beard,
Hmm.
you have
Yep.
you have the beard, and then you do what you do in the behind the curtain. So that was a curiosity for me.
Hmm. And the big thing that we didn't talk about that's like a big through line through this is when Ilya puts his phone number into Shane's phone and they with the
Oh,
coded name
yeah.
of Shane is Jane and Ilya is Lily.
Do you know that I like just recently realized about those names?
That they're so like
That
closely
they're,
mirrored with their
yeah,
actual
yeah, like
names. Yeah.
obviously, like it's so obvious, but for some reason, I just like it's very funny. I wonder if listeners, if anyone else just was like had that click a little bit later on, such as myself. And that's their second time meeting up. So in this first episode, they have two intimate times together, and that's the second time. And Ilya, wants to have, like penetrative sex with him, and he's Scott Hunter's next door. Again, Scott Hunter in the picture.
Hmm.
Interesting. He's in the mix a little bit and they say no, but they have what we imagine to be just like another amazing intimate time. They're very compatible. It's very much working. Shane was being really cute when he left. So he's like, oh, that's what they said because he's in Montreal and he's like, where are we going to meet up or whatever? And he's like, what does he say? He's like,
He's like, "What, you homeless?" or something.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like, are you
and he's
homeless?
like he's like, "Hollander, you're having panic attack." Because he's like, "Where the hell are we gonna meet?"
Oh yeah, and that's so sweet that he's like. I mean, I don't know if Shane is having a panic attack, but Shane is panicking on some level of what is happening. Are you
Hmm.
coming into my world, into my house, into my this is where I live. This
Hmm.
is this is dangerous.
Yes.
This is that question you're saying, are we going to get caught?
Hmm.
Shane is holding that, and you can feel him holding that as just this weight. And
Hmm.
and at some point, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, he asks Ilya, "Are you afraid of getting caught?" And he says, "No." There's something that Ilya is like transcended.
Hmm.
Like he's maybe worried. Of course he's worried. He's got a lot of potential consequences, but he also just kind of seems nonplussed about the thing. He's like, "Nah, it's gonna be fine."
Yeah. Life is so hard for him anyways. It's almost
Mm,
like whatever, just
mm,
keep it coming. I can already
mm.
handle whatever's thrown my way because I've gone through hell and back already.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That's a really good call. And he
Yeah.
has. I mean, the glimpses we get into his, douchey brother who's just like getting money from him, and his brother calls him a whiny faggot, which sorry to
Mm.
say that word. That's just the slur that his brother uses. That's why I said it. But I was curious if you thought that the brother knew about him. Like, because I was like, huh? Oh, wait a second. Is he paying his brother off to keep quiet about the fact that he
Mm,
found out that he's gay or whatever, or that he fucks men? That's what I thought and I still don't know the answer. I mean, that's
yeah.
a curiosity that I hold. But yeah, what are
Hmm.
your thoughts about that?
Well, I also, there's two things. Like, A, maybe he did get caught because Ilya did tell Shane that this was not his first time being with a man, and he had
Right.
first been with his coach's son in Russia. So maybe somehow word got around and it got back to his brother. But also just using that derogatory slur, I think it's pretty common amongst men and how they put each other down. So it could just be like the word that he chooses
Yeah,
to,
that's right.
yeah, degrade his brother.
Right, exactly. No, exactly. We also, this is the first time we see them touch their feet under the table
Oh,
when
yes.
Shane helps him through the press conference when he can feel. So this is a way that we see them energetically connected, that mixture, that yin yang mixture, where he can just feel that Ilya is completely flooded by the question that's being asked in front of all of these publicity people and whatever neurodivergence Shane is dealing with, he's really great at answering like, these publicity questions, which I'm like, get that shit because I can't,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, I
I
just
mean,
feel
that's
like
his world,
that's
he's
his
been like
world.
primed for this since he was like a child,
Oh yeah,
so
you're
it's like
right.
where he shines
Mm-hmm.
and but just like yeah, the empathy that he feels for like Ilya in that
Yeah.
moment is just also so sweet. Like, I got you. Like, I'm
Oh
supporting
yeah.
you. You don't need to worry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it's so touching and
It's
tender.
so
Ugh,
touching and
I love them so
tender.
much.
I love them so much. And listeners, I won't always do this, but I have to do this in this moment. Listeners who are also Heartstopper fans, the feet, the shoes touching is such an important part, of course, of what happens in Heartstopper when they have their first kiss. Their feet touch first. Their tennis shoes touch first. So,
Mm. It's that like the grazing, just the little touch, the
mhm,
water bottle in the heated in,
mhm,
it's the water bottle scene, it's the feet touching scene. It's just the
yes.
like it's so intimate and electric,
Yeah, it is. Oh, intimate and electric is a perfect way to describe it. Yes.
Yeah. They just know how to build intimacy,
Yeah.
The show does a great job of that.
Does Ilya then just not contact Shane for a long time? Why is Shane mad at Ilya at the end? So the end I hate. The roof scene is deeply upsetting to me. We talked about this last night when we did a rewatch. Like I just can't, I get so mad at it. And I think, it's understandable as to why. But remind me, where are they at in this ephemeral timeline that I don't know?
I don't even remember. It's like some award show. Shane wins. Is it like for Player of the Year or
Yeah,
something?
something
Like,
like that. Player of the year,
yeah,
yeah. And
and
Ilya
and
doesn't win.
Ilya doesn't win, and you can see Shane is sort of like looking around the room trying to find him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's nowhere to be found. And then, of course, Shane runs into Scott Hunter again, and Scott Hunter's like, "Hey, let's get some of the old
Hunter.
veterans and like the newbies to like take some shots to celebrate." And he's like, "Where's your boy Rosenoff?" And Shane just like freezes up, and he's just like, "My boy." And Scott Hunter, again, I feel like he's clocking it.
Mm-hmm,
Like
stalking.
he's clocking. He's like, he knows what's going on. He's like, no, 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 not your boy. I'm just like, it's always Hollander and Rosenoff. But he just like he lets that go. But I mean, it's quite obvious, like to Scott, I think what's going on.
I love that scene. I love that moment. Yeah. But it's another moment, a moment for Shane of like, am I going to get caught? Does someone know?
Hmm.
Panic,
Yes.
panic. Mm-hmm. And then on the roof, Ilya is somewhere else. He's like carrying so much family weight, trauma. He's so distracted and so far away from connection, not winning, but also just with what's happening in his family system that we don't know fully at this point what all is going on with the dad and the brother, but we know some shit is happening.
Hmm.
And he can't make contact with Shane. And Shane, all he wants is contact. And it doesn't need to necessarily be sexual contact, just contact. And Ilya is not really equipped to do it. And Shane kind of pushes him. He's a little bit drunk. And he kind of pushes him. And the contact is messy. It's
Hmm.
messy contact.
Yeah, Shane is like, you couldn't even be there for me, like winning, like you can't even like stand to lose to me once. And then that's what's going on in Shane's mind. This is why like Ilya's not there. And it's just like he doesn't even understand everything that's happening in Ilya's world. And he tells him, he yells it to his face, like, not everything is about you. Yeah, even in that scene, like I feel like Shane is getting let in a little bit more to Ilya's world. Yeah, and so then Shane is just sort of like, I think he's also hoping that they're gonna hook up again, but it's like
Yes.
that's not the vibe. That's not the vibe of the night. And then he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna see you next season. And he extends his hand out to shake it. And ooh, what does Ilya do? He takes his hand and he pushes him up against a wall again and
I mean,
kisses him so passionately. That is
uh,
like maybe my favorite kiss of the first
really? Oh,
episode.
the first
I don't
episode.
know.
Yeah.
Well, of the first episode.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
the very first time they kiss too is like sexy as hell, but like
So good.
the last one, it's just like a desperate kiss. This just like I
Mm,
need this so much. Like I
mm,
don't know when I'm gonna have this again. You're
yeah,
gonna go home to Russia. Is this
totally.
even gonna continue? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Shane was thinking that this was just gonna be like a
A
one-time
one-time
thing
thing.
and be
Yeah.
like, oh great, like I finally got to sleep with a man and see what that's about. And I think he's surprised that he like keeps wanting it more and
Yes.
more.
Yes. Yeah. Almost like, hey, are we together in some way? Like there's this pull that he's this need, and also he wants to celebrate with him.
Mm-hmm.
And just Ilya is unavailable for that. He's just not available at all. He's not emotionally there. He cannot make contact. And so the way he does, of course, is so hot. Can he play? Can anyone push me up against a wall? God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
all
know.
I
And
want.
it's you see this internal struggle with Shane. It's like, oh, he wants it, and then like
Mm-hmm.
he like turns Ilya around and then pushes him on the wall, and then Ilya's about to kiss him,
Yeah.
and then Shane rejects him, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, we're gonna get caught." So it's
Getting
like,
caught. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's the like, I want it, I can't have it,
Yes, the push pull.
the push
And
and
so
pull.
much of this whole story that evolves is the push pull.
Hmm.
We're together, we're not. We want it, we can't have it. One person does, it's off and on, it's all around. And it's what makes it sexy. And it's also that the
It's
rivalry and the
hmm
sex.
it's everything everywhere all at once.
Oh, yes,
That's what it
yes.
is.
Yeah, yeah. It's that same it's why sometimes you have an argument with like a partner or partners and then you have like the best sex of your whole fucking life right after.
Oh
That
yeah.
energy, that fire, that passion that gets pulled up
Hmm.
is the same line of energy and fire and passion. It's all the same. It's just like how it comes out and how it manifests and what you do with it. How do you move it? Do you bike it out and sweat it out that way side by side? Do you have a fight on the roof and storm away? Do you play hockey and play it out through there? Or do
Chuck
you
each
have
other up
like
against the wall.
push each other up against the wall, have the best blowjob of your life, what have you? How does it get to come out or not? How does it manifest? Oh, I know what happens his dad gets mad at him. Ilya's dad gets mad at him. That's what happens. And I can't remember exactly why, but that's the retreat. So when the family stuff comes in, Ilya can't psychologically handle that. He doesn't have ways to process it and materialize it. So he withdraws. He withdraws connection because he is so disconnected
Hmm.
from his experience with his own family dynamic. How can he be connected to this loving person who's in front of him? It's part of the push pull and it's
Hmm.
part of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's not no judgment there, but it's part of the problem.
Yes. And we also see like there's a lot of repetition in how they speak to each other too. Like Shane's always calling Illy an asshole. Illy's always
Mm-hmm.
calling Shane boring.
Yes,
But this is the thing that is drawing them to each other.
that's right.
Boring is safe, and Ilya
Mm-hmm.
has not had safety.
That's right.
And
Yes.
being an asshole is being bold and brash and exciting and just not giving a fuck. And that
Yes.
is what Shane is pulled to because
Yes.
he wants to be able to just let down his guard and not have to be like the all polished, like all-star hockey player that he's like needs to be.
My God, absolutely. You might drop that shit. That's absolutely right. And I think, just going back to the title, I mean, I think in some ways they're both what we're talking about. Obviously, they're rookies, which you explained to me, the sports part of it. But, they're beginners in terms of this is obviously Shane's beginning entry point into this
Hmm.
part of his sexuality and his understanding. And I think it's Ilya's beginning and entry point into something that is a meaningful emotional connection. So they're both sort of rookies in
Mm,
those places.
that's so beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And it just really goes hand in hand with how you just, described that. It's the same. It's what it is. And there we go. The writing is so wonderful. The metaphors are there. The writing is so wonderful. Rachel and also what Jacob is doing for the show. Um, yeah. Are there any other moments or like cinematic things that stood out to you that you want to mention?
I can't quite remember, just, because I've seen the whole series. Things are blending in my head and I can't remember exactly what was in episode one and not in two. No, oh, well, I guess there was also a moment that like, I don't know how much you want to give away with foreshadowing, but when like Shane's at the table with his parent, you will see that that same framing is in the very last episode
Hmm.
and that there's like sort of space left open next to Shane and we will soon see what and who like fills that space as we go through some of the other
And there's
episodes.
another bookend that you and I talked about a little bit earlier. I that we won't give away, but also starts here in Rookies, and we see it again echoed in the last episode. So there's these really nice holding that the show is doing. It's kind of putting us in this cocoon of things are really hard. There's complicated characters. There's a lot of hot sex. There might be hard things that happen, but we are holding and containing you in this journey as you follow Shane and Ilya through. And through their whole career, well, not whole career, but like through a huge part of their career over however many years, which I don't know, and and also this journey of finding themselves and finding what that means in relationship to each other.
Yeah, beautifully said.
Well, did we do it?
I think we did it.
We fucking did it.
I think we covered it all.
We really made some beautiful connections. I'm so proud of us
Go
for our
us.
first little cute episode. Well, we will say goodbye for now and we'll get ready for episode two, which, hmm, episode two is hot.
Talk about a hot montage.
Oh,
The hottest montage in the
ooh.
beginning. We'll have to break that
Uh,
one down.
I mean, I would not watch episode two with like your parent in the room. This isn't this is episode two. Episode two is epic and iconic, and I really want to talk about the music in episode two too. So we'll hit all those marks and more on this exciting, exciting journey of reheating this show. So thank you so much, Mars. This was a blast.
Thank you, Ems. I loved being here.